Okay, so let's, like, open all of the new things. So, we start with Stellar Superconduct. Elemental reaction, Stellar Superconduct. There's no R here. When cryo comes into contact with electroelement under specific conditions, the special reaction Stellar Superconduct will be triggered, temporarily converting the surrounding area into the wondrous stellar glow domain. That's Hop Stellars. Oh, right, yeah, I know. Anyways, when enemies within the stellar glow domain are struck by cryo or electro attacks, the domain shall seal the diffused elemental energy. What does that mean? Good question. Every 3 seconds, all sealed elemental power is unleashed and converted into buffs for all party members inside the domain, granting cryo and electro damage bonus, and raising the base reaction multiplier of their stellar superconduct damage, lasting for 3 seconds. Now, we don't know exactly how this works. Additionally, enemies inside the domain will have their physical res reduced. So, what the fuck does any of this mean? That is a good question. That is a very good question. I'm not sure, right? One possibility is that the increase to, like, the percent, like, the numbers on the damage bonus and the numbers on the increase base reaction multiplier get increased by the amount of times you hit with cryo or electro. That's kind of what this reads as to me. But we did have a leak a while back that it was just a fixed number. And I don't know if that leak was fake or if it's just that this is a weird description that doesn't actually convey properly. Maybe it's some kind of gauge that can be trivially filled, maybe. Can I run Yulo with Sandrone? I mean, you're not allowed, but... I mean, I haven't even fucking read her kit yet, okay? So, like, we'll get there. Anyway, certain characters gain the blessing Radiant Stellar Superconduct within the domain, powering their effects. So basically this is saying Stellar Superconduct also directly buffs some characters. This is a whole lot of nothing, honestly. This really doesn't tell us much, unfortunately. So we kind of just have to take a look at what the buffs are. First is Beidou. Beidou is probably the character I'm, like, most hopeful will see meaningful buffs. But from what I skimmed through, it doesn't seem very... I'm not very optimistic. Let's just put it that way. So, what's new for Beidou? If she gets a perfect parry, her skill doesn't have a cooldown. But that effect has a cooldown. But if she gets a perfect parry, she gets, like, infinite energy, and she gets to do a second parry. As much as I think it's a little bit boring that the effect has a really long cooldown, read the first line. What do you mean, read the first line? The first line is just what the effect already says. That is the current passive. There's a different passive that says that if you cast it as you get hit, you get both of the stacks that increase damage. No, it isn't? Okay, I'm pretty sure you guys are just lying for fun right now. Oh no, you guys are not lying. Huh. But still, it's still, like, by default, right? The way that her skill works is every time she gets hit, she gets a stack, and once she has 2 stacks, it's maxed out. This is saying, if you just hold, you'll get your stacks even without getting hit eventually. Like, this isn't a new type of thing. And you don't want to be doing this anyway, so who cares? But yeah, I guess it means that, like, a beginning of a Stygian chamber, you can get your extra energy from this new passive, even if the enemy takes a while to start attacking you. Plus 10 energy, it's a lot more than plus 10 energy. Because it's 8 times 2 is 16, so I don't know, I don't think you're very good at math. But 2, she also now gets a second skill after that, and the second skill also generates particles. Does this translate to just hold E, Q, E? It's gonna depend, but kind of, yeah. It also does mean that Beidou is gonna be one of those characters where whether you want to EQ or QE is actually gonna depend on whether or not enemies are hitting you, because the extra energy you get from this is so much that even if you end up not catching the particles you generate from it, it still generates more energy. Like, if you end up not catching your E's particles, because of this passive, getting a perfect parry is still more important than batterying her particles into herself, which is kind of nice. That is good. But, like, her skill isn't really a lot of damage. The main purpose of her skill is energy, and this makes her skill generate more energy and gives her a way to get a second skill to generate even more energy at the start of your first Stygian chamber, which is pretty good. That's nice. That's cool. And then they changed to C6, where it now... The old C6 was just 15% Electro Shred. Now, on top of that, it also has 15% Cryo Shred and 200 EM. to the active character. You're talking as if you want to play Beidou and Sijin. I mean, we have to understand, we're getting a cryo character that wants Electro on their team. Alright, I haven't read Sandrone's kit yet, but, you know, I'm assuming that you're gonna want an Electro character in there. And, like, the Electro characters that exist right now don't tend to have the best synergy with cryo characters. So, like, if these buffs are meaningful, fuck yeah, you're using her in Sijin. Like, 200 EM and 15% shred? That's pretty good, actually. Yai is just better. I haven't looked at Yai yet. Does Beidou work with Raiden now? Surely. It doesn't solve the 20-second cooldown issue. I mean, I'll take a look at the Sandrone stuff, but I don't know if that's actually an issue yet.
Goose on the loose!
Yeah.
Goose on the loose!
Goose on the loose!